Just turning the live stream on, and we'll get underway.
Oh, okay.
Right, everyone, we'll just stand for the karakia and then we will
Just send it through. Yeah.
get underway. Right.
Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga, kia maha kina kina ki uta, kia maha taratara ki tai, e hia he ana te atakura, he tino, he huka, he hauhunga, te hei moro.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. I'll open the meeting at 4:32 p.m. First item we have on the agenda is apologies, and we have an apology from Bridget Williams and Linda Chen and Aaron Kewen. And we have at the moment an apology for lateness from David Cartwright. Could I get a move for that?
Happy to move.
Move. Sam, second. Moving on to number 2 on the agenda, declarations of interest. There's been no declarations declared, but if anything comes up during the meeting, just let us know and you can sit back on the table. Confirmation of the previous minutes. I've had to read through those and I'm happy to move those minutes so I could get a second for those. Nicola?
Yes.
Thank you. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. All right, that moves us on to number 4 on the agenda, the public forum. So we have no public forum presentations, so then we can move on to number 5, which is deputations by appointment. So our first deputation is Jerry Go. If you'd like to come up and take a seat at the table there. Do we have a timer?
You sink into it.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's 10 minutes and that includes time for questions. So the floor is yours.
Okay, I'm due to go and I live 6 Sunnyfair Lane. If I give my class, this is my time. Sorry. I want to tell you a few problems we've had over the last 4 years. It started off with trucks roaming around the street, and then it was whatever else was working there. So an accident happened and a child fell over. Another girl had to pick it up. We've had the bins removed. I got abused because I put the bins on the footpath. If I don't put them on the footpath, they drive over them. Cars are parked over my driveway for 3/4 of an hour when they pick children up because there is nowhere to park on the side of the road. All the car parks are taken over by the teachers. If I have visitors, they have to park away about 2 streets and have to walk to come and see me. We've had in our street, what is only 10 houses, 50 cars and 4 buses in our street at one time. You couldn't get in or out. My daughter tried to come and visit me, she couldn't get in. So she's the one who rang the council and the school and whatever else. My neighbour had a car towed away. It was on her drive for 4 hours. In between all that, children tried to get in and out of the school ground. Buses blocked the whole street of parking sideways as well, so not just that way, but that way as well. I had to sit there and wait till they decided to move half an hour later. We rang the school, voiced our frustration. However, they do not seem to interest. They don't want to do anything about the problem. They have plenty of land to make more car park, so they don't have to park in the street. We have sent photos to the council and they came to see for themselves how bad it was. So I hope you do something about it. A wee while ago, we had signs up what said no parking till 9 o'clock in the morning, so the children can go to school, and not between 2 and 4. They took the signs away and nothing happened. So it's all over the place. So that's my problem.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any questions from anyone? James?
I guess, do I need to turn these on, do I?
No,
You don't have to. Thank you very much for taking the time to come along and speak with us. I completely empathise with your situation there, and it's very difficult with parking problems like this. Do you think that the recommendations in the report are adequate enough to address the problem, or would you prefer that they didn't go as far or went further?
I think it would be nice to have the same system that they don't park until 9 o'clock and not between 2 and 4. But the rest is fine, what's on the paper. It's no problem.
So I guess just to summarise that, although you think that there could be a variation of it, it is a step in the right direction in your view as a resident.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I appreciate that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right, next up we had Val Saxton. If you want to come and take a seat. Same thing, 10 minutes, including time for questions.
Yeah, I'm really pleased you've got the map up there, and I admire what you have had to say, and I have differences in point of view. Could you hand those out for me, please? Because what I want to say goes back and forward, and I don't feel the proposal that went forward. In the mailbox, we received a letter dated the 18th of July, and it's proposed restricted parking in Sunnyvale Lane, and it proposed no stopping at the yellow lines around this area here. Now, I know you're all from the area, but if you don't mind, may I?
That's fine.
Around here.
Yep.
So we've got restricted yellow lines through here, and we've got the no parking zones there. And the reasoning was that all spaces were occupied, and it was absolutely dreadful, and it would make it safer for turning vehicles. This is a bit suspect. By putting the yellow no stopping lines there, it makes it safer for the turning vehicles. I do hope not at that space. The map was drawn on the 10th of July, and the map which came to you, the board, dated the 17th of September, is exactly the same, but this one says for community board approval, and the one that we got in a mailbox said consultation plan. Despite what you've said, I've said, and I've got no idea who else has said what, there is no change in the plan. So I don't know what has been taken on board. Objections. What is the problem? Is the problem being addressed? And if the problem is being addressed, we're looking at the congestion caused by parked vehicles and creating safety for turning vehicles and pedestrians crossing at the T intersection. That was the brief in July. Then, if that's the problem, then there could be merit in this proposal, but that is not the problem. And I think we need to go in history here. There is an understandable, very reasonable and understandable reason for believing that the problem deserving solution is congestion on Sunnyvale Lane. I'm guessing that the original impetus for this, or these proposals, is exactly what my neighbour has just stated, and that is what was an extreme congestion and problem. That was true then. For more than 2 years, Sunnyvale Lane has suffered such congestion. The building of 3 new schools, Ellenvale, Burnside, Cobham, on the site of 2 operating schools, caused the congestion of having traffic, construction operators' vehicles, the tradies parking, staff parking, because the access at Memorial Avenue, which normally would provide 43 parks, the access was denied because that was contractors only. So we had parking problems, we had vehicular movement problems and pedestrian access problems. Entrance from Memorial Avenue, I've said, was denied, and that created overload on facilities at Gleneagles Terrace and at Sunnyvale Lane, as all the day parking spots for right down the streets were utilised. It created tension, congestion and danger as parents' cars sought to enter Sunnyvale Lane to drop off their kids just down here or pick up their kids. And then there's the foot traffic. There are the kids who are walking, accessing through the lane from Clyde Road through to Woodford Terrace or coming down Gleneagles Terrace. There's the walking, and the pedestrians could be on foot or they can be on scooters, and then there's the cyclists. And all of these people were being diverted from other entrances because of what's going on. So for 2 years it was dreadful. And vehicles, because this area here, this is why I'm so pleased there's a map, because all of that area and all of that line through there was solid with cars parked for all day. It meant that anybody trying to drop off kids under the time constraint of getting to their own jobs, they were left dropping them off anywhere along here. And then all of them, you cannot turn in that street, despite its width, without doing a 3-point turn when you've got a park line of traffic on either side. And so the cars are turning wherever the whim is. Oh, I can get in here, drop the kids off, and do a 3-point turn, one behind, one in front. It was awful. So, interesting point. During all of this time, no car in its right mind has ever turned left into this area. So although it may look like a T intersection, this cul-de-sac has got 6 houses and nobody is in this particular congestion area. So that went on for a long time and it didn't end, because then we had the Island Road effect. On the far west, the problems already cited were hugely exacerbated when the Christchurch City Council carried out its realignment and repurposing of traffic on Island Road. This extended the problem for another year. For months, access to the schools from the west was also denied before we got air cycleways on Island Road, we got traffic lights for pedestrians and cycles, and we got the allocation of a 3-minute park zone for drop-off, pick-up on Island Road. We also got the opening up Memorial Avenue for cars to be able to access, drop off kids, egress, and there's 43 parking spaces there. But we're the middle of this year before restructuring affecting this was completed. So that was then, this is now. My objections to the proposal put forward is that the traffic operations team are looking at a problem that no longer exists in the form that it has been presented. The operations team ignore the actual problem, which is neither parking congestion nor the tick box implementation of yellow dotted lines, because the problem which should be addressed is the safety of both pedestrian and vehicular traffic. Safety. Currently, turning traffics are denied any kiss and go park 3-minute area. So nothing has been done to solve that problem. Nothing has been, that I know of, has been even looked at. So the drop-off pickup is uncontrolled, random, haphazard. I would like to have seen, or for you to consider, that a designated turning area for vehicles on Sunnyvale Lane, probably, well, I can't see it could be anywhere else. Down the bottom end, yellow dotted lines, 3 minutes, kiss and go area, whatever you like to call it, but somewhere where the traffic can pull in, drop off, because that's a momentary thing. It's only a case of grabbing your lunchbox in the school bag, and turning around and coming out. No 3-point turns, and the kids disposed of safely. So, make provision of a designated zone at the west end of Sunnyville Lane for embarking and disembarking pupils and room to complete a U-turn. And that would be a first consideration, I think, for any traffic movement in this area. Safety. The west end, which doesn't show on the map, of Sunnyville Lane, and I know there are reasons for this, but there's neither curbing, nor edging, nor footpath provided. And that I'd like to see some provision made there for crossing to gain access to the grounds of the schools. And then we have back on Gleneagles Terrace, we have the haphazard and random diagonal crossing and wandering through foot traffic, cycles, walking, streams of kids crossing Gleneagles Terrace. A lot of them from the junction with Woodford Terrace, but not just there. And then we move further out, and this is much, much more important for safety because vehicles in Gleneagles Terrace, Woodford, they're not going fast. But the kids, the pupils, we're talking primary school pupils who are accessing from Chilcombe Street, Craik Road, Hamilton Ave, they cross Memorial Avenue at or near the junction with Gleneagles Terrace, and that is not safe. You know what Memorial Avenue is like. It's a major arterial road, and it is not a safe route for the kids. And if you ever watch at the times when the kids are coming to school, you'll see them look and make a dash on their cycle or their scooter to cross the road at that point. 500 metres away at Island Road, there are lights. 300 metres down towards Clyde Road lights, there is a, what do you call it, one of those midway crossing things. There is nothing for 800 metres, but there is a lot of kids come through that way. I think that is something I would like to see addressed in a proposal which is looking at this situation. I have something to say about the yellow dotted lines. I think that, when you're carrying out anything, okay, you put yellow dotted lines there. There are numerous places, streets around where yellow dotted lines do not occur at intersections. And this area here, because it is a cul-de-sac virtually, there's no parking except for one park here, or there it might be. And the yellow dotted line, which are here on what is a particularly wide road, and so is this, does not obscure vision or traffic or anything else. I don't see any reason for this one either, but it is part of a right-hand turn, so there could be obscurity of vision. I've never come out and tried to turn right to know. And so the problem identified in this proposal is outdated. Doesn't mean to say it all has to go. My neighbour has made a very good point about that restricted parking territory, but a lot of the cause of the real problem, which has alerted to us to further problems, has gone, but there are real problems and they concern safety. I suggest, they concern safety. I suggest that during a school term, anybody who wants to see for themselves about this can go along and drop off and pick up times. And it sounds as if the schools have not been tremendously supportive, but a good project for a school would be surely to stand and count how many people at different times of day are doing what, whether it's scooter or whether it's a vehicle or a 3-point turn or a Memorial Ave. Thank you. Enough from me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And when we get to that item on the agenda, we'll have the opportunity to ask staff some of those questions. So,
Can we ask questions?
oh yeah, I guess if you've got a couple, we can. Although
I've just got one, Phil.
Sam.
Thank you both for your presentations. So just so I'm clear, Are you saying you're relatively comfortable with the changes, except you'd like actually a bit more work done around the other stuff? So it's kind of, I'm picking up what you've said, and then also what you've said, which is actually
It was only looked at a little bit of the problem, and it's been blinkered in vision.
So we could request potentially, maybe if we were to push this through, potentially some more work done around, because it's some quite practical examples which made sense, and maybe just looking at how we remove, because I agree, the yellow line on that side, you're right, no, people don't come out of there to go around the roundabout, so around into the cul-de-sac. So is that kind of what you were saying?
Yes, it is, and I think you probably picked up on the fact that I live on the cul-de-sac.
All right. Well, I didn't want to ask. But
Surprise. But actually, that, and I think I've said here that the cul-de-sac never entertains a left-turning vehicle, thereby, but the it is the only place that any of those 6 houses have got where they can put an extra car or have a visitor, and it doesn't infringe anything which matters for safety or safe passage.
no, that's
They do park in the middle of the road.
In the middle of the Gleneagles Terrace.
In the bend there, they park that far
they do.
away from the curb.
Yeah.
And then another car.
Yeah.
So
And the buses, they can just be rude and obstructive, yes.
Are they, sorry, can I ask, are the school buses going all the way down to the end?
It's expeditions. It's not, because it's not school buses on a daily basis.
It's just like, if they have sports like a Thursday or a Friday sport, so they would park there and wait for the children to come out at midday, and then they're blocking, and that's right at the very end where they walk through to the schools, is it?
talked to the headmaster
Yes.
and told them, and now they have to walk into Gleneagles Terrace and get the bus there.
Oh, okay, so,
And so now it blocks Gleneagles.
right,
They can be very rude, but there's more
There's
room.
no problem there when it's.
okay.
But there's no room.
that's cool. I think maybe that's something we just pick up when we get to the paper. Yeah, thank you. That's
Great, thank you very much. Right, moving on from there, presentation of petitions. We have no petitions for this meeting, so we'll move on to the staff reports now. We're considering just bringing Sunnyvale Lane report forward, but the Kahu Road one's pretty straightforward, so I think we might well just start there and just stick with the agenda. Yeah. So we have Fortum, our traffic engineer. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Go for it.
You can take it as read, obviously, though.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, as we know, good afternoon, everyone. So this report is regarding some additional parking restrictions no stopping restrictions along Kahu Road. So we received feedback. So as we know, we have a curve near the Titoki Street intersection. So we did receive feedback that from a nearby resident that there were visibility challenges while exiting their accessway. And also staff observed them on site. It was valid, and also vehicles were found to encroach into the nearby cycle lane as well, because in that part of Kahu Road, the cycle lane is a bit.
You can go.
The cycle lane is a bit away from the curb, and there in the space between the curb and the cycle lane, there are a few vehicles parked on street. So these vehicles appear to obstruct vision and also encroach the cycle lanes. So this proposal indicates by extending the no stopping lines on either side of number 9 Kahu Road, we have space for one vehicle to be parked there, and also we are removing parking from the unsafe areas.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Anyone have any questions?
No, happy to move.
Happy to move. All right. James is happy to move. David, happy to second.
Apologies. If I may just add some point, as you said, you have read the report. There was one comment from residents regarding removing that one street space as well, and extending the entire thing. But staff observed on site, and it was it didn't add any meaningful visibility improvement for vehicles coming through the curve or from the Titoki Street intersection as well. So with the parking demand in this area, we thought we could retain that on-street space.
Yep.
I don't know if I can do that anymore.
No, that's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for all the work on
Good
that.
report.
So again, James has moved, David is second. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thanks very much. And then that does move us on to item number 8, so Sunningdale Lane. So just want to quickly run us through that, and then maybe we'll give the team a chance to ask any questions around what the residents raised during their presentations.
So a very brief thing, as we know, this is regarding time restricted parking along Sunningdale Lane and some additional no stopping restrictions at the Sunningdale Glen Eagles intersection. We received feedback from residents in the recent past regarding all on-street spaces on Sunningdale Lane being occupied during the working days, and staff observed on site as well, and also especially during school pickup times, there were multiple instances of double parking along Sunningdale Lane on both sides. So with the parking spaces being fully occupied and with parents picking up their kids, it was congested, as the residents rightly indicated. And also with the proposal, we feel that it would provide some space for the residents and the visitors during the day. And also with minimal all-day parking along Sunningdale Lane, especially on that side, we'll have some space for parents to pull over and pick up their kids and wait safely while picking up their kids as well. And with the no stopping restrictions, as pointed out earlier, we observed a lot of vehicles parked right around the corner, and which has visibility and accessibility challenges, and it is, according to the road code, it is not allowed as well. Yes, we don't mark it in all intersections, but this is a place where, unfortunately, it happens regularly. It's observed to happen multiple times. So that is the reason we thought, okay, let's include this as a part of the proposal as well. And as I said, like most of the section indicated there, it falls within the 6-meter intersection rule. And also, according to the road code, we are not allowed to park near a curve as well. So taking all that into consideration, the no stopping restrictions were included in the proposal as well. But yeah, happy to take questions.
James, go for it.
Yeah, I've got a few there. You obviously would have heard the deputations earlier, and they were, really good points. But I guess if I just run through some of my questions, then others might clarify as well. But are there any other restrictions considered? And if so, why were they discounted? And I guess where I'm going with that is that it's pretty obvious that these issues are stemming from the school. And, we sometimes do implement no stopping on school days. So my question really is, why were we not looking at no stopping on school days restrictions?
Oh, you mean there is P120s only on school days or something like?
Yes, like we do. This is P120 9 till 4, Monday to Friday. Just wondering why it wasn't a school day one, given it's a school day.
Yes, it was certainly considered that one, but we had two minor reasons. One thing, we do have P3s, 8 to 9, 2:30 to 3:30 in various locations. But this one of the predominant reasons was to allow some residents and visitors parking as well. So it was not the P3. It could be useful over the year. And also with school days, we had a discussion with our parking enforcement team. And in some locations, they did mention a feedback that with the changes in school days between schools, sometimes it was not clear regarding how to, on enforcement, like say, for example, staff only days or some things like that. So that's when we thought, okay, and that's why we consulted on this as well. So we thought if that was brought up, we might change, but from residents we didn't receive any feedback regarding the Monday to Friday or school days, but so we thought, yeah, okay, fine, this could work.
So it's for clarity, and you've answered my
question.
So thank you. The only other one, or a couple actually, more if that's okay. Did you, as part of this work, look at any of the other nearby and surrounding streets, such as Glen Eagles Terrace, Woodford Terrace, Bannister Place? Because through the consultation there were some comments mentioned which is completely correct. It doesn't necessarily solve an issue, it does tend to move a problem, and I guess as a result of that was your did the scope look to those surrounding streets?
Yes, we certainly did. We were aware that it could, obviously with restrictions, staff or anyone who's regularly parking there would still keep coming there. So if we see in the aerials and we check on site as well, it is around 8 spaces or something on that side, approximately 7-8 spaces. So from site observations during working days and school times, Glen Eagles further south, and also Woodford and a few other nearby places did appear to have the capacity to take over that small thing. And also with, as we discussed, with the double parking and things happening in Sunnyvale. That's a safety issue which we have notified our parking enforcement team, which is on their schedule to monitor as well. So to reduce the chances of that happening, we thought, okay, we'll just do it here. And we were definitely aware that it would push it to the neighboring street. But since that had the capacity to take over, and it is, as we said, it's a cul-de-sac and it's only on one side as well. So the number displaced would be minimal. So that's the reason.
Again, great answer. And if I may, Mr. Chair, I just want to thresh these all out and it's done. A good point mentioned around capacity or the ability for cars to turn, given so many people are dropping kids off school and everything like that. Was it looked at, or is there possibility to incorporate yellow lines into that northwest end of the Sunnyvale cul-de-sac to allow for a 180-degree or 360-degree?
Actually, as we might be aware, like construction work was going on when we started in the school side when we started this, but also just letting you know, like I'm meeting with one of the school principals next week after school starts regarding discussing a potential P3 zone. This was also one feedback which they had submitted as well, from which we received from the school regarding a short-term parking or not a short-term, a drop-off, a pickup drop-off zone or something like that. So this is something which we were thinking as well, but we thought, okay, as we indicated earlier, this specific thing is one of the major factors is allowing some parking during the day for residents and their visitors as well. So we'll see how this works, and we are definitely open to, we are always actively looking to improve safety around schools. So as I indicated, we have been communicating with the school, and I'm meeting with the school staff next week, and we'll discuss some potential drop-off pickup areas, and we can go from there. But this is something that's definitely being considered. Yeah.
Cool. So you're aware of it. You're actively working on it, and this particular proposal doesn't preclude it.
Yeah, exactly. So because as we said, this one of the predominant reasons is allowing parking for residents and visitors alike during the day. So yeah.
And the very last one is, did you consider? And I know it's not standard practice always, but to have it on both sides, mirrored?
Yes, we did think of that option, but as I indicated in the report, we had the Christchurch suburban parking policy as well, which states 75% or more, if it is occupied during the day, we can consider, on a case-by-case basis, we can consider 25 to 50% or approximately time-restricted parking. So we thought we'll do this, and then because there might be some residents along the street who might need all-day parking or longer-term parking. So we have to take that into consideration as well. So it is a fine balance, but we thought we'll do this on one side, and if we'll monitor and we can do any changes if needed in the future.
Like the 3 minutes or the yellow lines at the northwest end, you're actively considering it, and then once we've seen how it's gone,
exactly.
Data, it doesn't preclude it.
Yeah.
Can I just thank you as well? Like really great answers.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. It's really clarified it well for me.
Thank you.
Suresh.
So just two things from me.
Sure.
Thanks for answering, James. So pedestrian safety while crossing was spoken about.
Yeah.
So that's one. And you also talked about the northwest corner, like a stage 2 of implementation.
Yeah.
So any thoughts on pedestrian safety?
As we said, we'll be discussing with the school. Like our travel demand team is actively working with all schools in the city, and we are talking with the school as well. And we will certainly be having a discussion with school staff regarding how we can work around crossing facilities or any other safety improvements here. But at this stage, as residents indicated, we have many students, children crossing at that T intersection. At this stage, it is like Gleneagles Terrace, as we know, it's a cul-de-sac. Traffic volumes are relatively low. That's why, but still, school children are crossing at that time. So at this stage, we think the no stopping restrictions would keep the sight lines clear, but we will be certainly working with the school regarding any other alternative and very much safe alternatives are possible. We are certainly working with this. We will be certainly working on that. Yeah.
Any rough idea of the timelines? Is it few weeks away, few months away?
No, one thing is, as I said, I'll be meeting the school next week, and we'll be starting from there. But again, it comes down to funding as well, and minor safety budgets have been allocated to other improvements. But we can do, like, we can consider a staged improvement or something based on the requirement and where the actual pedestrian demand is, or if we can divert pedestrians to the other access where this improved safety or something like that. Because as we know, on the Island Road entrance, near there we have traffic lights as well. So we can consider what options are available and possible for the time being, and we can work on that certainly.
It's not really a question, but thank you. I fully support the idea that you're going to have a look at a so-called kiss and go
Drop off.
drop off. I think that's really good, because I think, with the parking there, obviously, as Val and Jerry have said, the cars coming and then, making 3-point turns, that's a real pain. So it would be ideal at that end, wouldn't it? And that would be a real great thing. And parents would be really grateful, I know. Most schools don't have a car park where you can drop your children off, but it's just the safety of residents and the students and everyone that we have to take into account. So I think that's great.
And also, that end of the cul-de-sac might not be the right thing, but as we said,
but we
can have a look at alternative options as well, which would work best for the school and the residents. Like, as I said, we really appreciate the residents' feedback, and that's what we have been working on as well. And this is something like we need to find out a solution which works well for the residents who are there always, and also for the school. So we are working it in a stage.
It would be great if we could eliminate those 3-point turns, probably, wouldn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Sam, anything from you?
Just one. So is there anything to stop us, and I'd be just keen on your thoughts, just taking on the feedback around, because I kind of agree with it. It doesn't make sense for yellow lines on that side of the cul-de-sac, but keep them on the right turning in, because there's virtually no one's ever going to turn left.
Yeah, I mean, we acknowledge that, but as I indicated earlier, it is like, it is mostly length, approximately half of that yellow lines on that corner, it comes within the 6-meter intersection rule anyway. Yeah. So it's illegal to park, and remaining it's near the curve on the road, which is illegal to park anyway based on the road code as well. So this is like, I did recheck the thing with our parking enforcement team, who said
so legally we have to do that basically.
It's not legally, it's not allowed to park there. So but it happens here, unfortunately. We are not allowed to park there along that curve because
what I'm trying to get to is, can we just, if you're going to review this all anyway, can we not just not put those yellow lines in and then see what it comes like in 6 months' time?
But the thing is, as we said, we have a lot of children crossing there at the moment. So once it is one thing, it's illegal to park there anyway, and it kind of removes any way. I mean, it removes any cycling obstructions for the children crossing as well. If we remove the vehicles,
it's illegal. If I may, just with Sam, because I had the exact same thought as you, but the penny drop, just as it was being explained to me, it's not done not so much, because I completely agree. The sight lines are really irrelevant there because people aren't turning left. The issue for it is that it's an area where children are crossing, and you're finding that cars are parking there, which impedes them being able to cross there or makes it dangerous for the crossing. So it's not done for the sight lines.
Right.
It's done to basically remind motorists that they can't park
across there, would they?
Well, that's what
that's what is happening on site at the moment.
So
children who are coming on foot from
not to the sight lines so much, because basically they're illegally parking.
Would the children cross over there, or wouldn't they cross at the first?
No, they cross.
They cross everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, that was.
I agree with you, but
we did look at that, but the thing, as we said, is it's illegal to park there anyway, and with vehicles, but it is unfortunately happening.
Yeah.
And with vehicles parking there, kids crossing there won't be able to see properly for motorists coming out as well. Like, as we know, there's a lot of congestion from Sunningvale anyway, so they wouldn't be able to look for motorists, because there are children who cross straight, who cross diagonally. Unfortunately, at the moment, that's happening. So,
Okay. Any questions from anyone else on that one? Not supposed to be taking questions from the floor really at this point, unfortunately. James?
Only a final, if that's all right.
Yeah, final question.
But it was just, I think what's clear with this, and it's not out of line with what you're doing, is that you're going to be looking at the issue, but what's clear to us is that this is positive, but it doesn't go the whole way, and there are wider issues such as wider safety issues, potential impacts on neighbouring streets. Is there a time frame that you would be comfortable with to report back to the board, and we can get an update on the effectiveness of the parking restrictions, but also the impacts on the neighbouring streets and any further safety enhancements that might be recommended from those meetings with the school and the wider consultation with residents? So basically what I'm suggesting is that we put in a report back clause there within, I don't know, 12 months or 18 months or something like that. What would work for you? And then we can see what's working well and where it might need to go a bit further.
Well, I'd be happy to say, as I said, 12 months or something.
So does that provide you a window that's sufficient enough to gather the data that would be meaningful?
Yeah, certainly. Like we can, we'll be monitoring this after this things are implemented, these restrictions are implemented, and we can see what the impacts are, and we could expectedly get more feedback from residents regarding this as well. And we'll be working with the school as well. So we can certainly look at it.
You're comfortable with that? Because I don't want to ask the board to approve a recommendation if it's not workable for you, but reporting back with...
Even if, like, say, for example, like if there is something that is possible and that's something that's not, we can let the board know what is and what is not possible. Certainly, we can let the board know regarding that. Yeah.
Well, if everyone's all right with that, I was just thinking, well, I want to add that on there.
Yep. All right. We can put a draft point in there for that. Right, we'll wrap up with the questions there. Did anyone have any debate they wanted to discuss on that one, or did someone want to propose any or move on from that, propose any amendments to the motion?
Just a question, given that Gautam has indicated that flexibility, should we try and set a shorter time frame? Because we will have the ability to say, okay, you have done this, let's implement that. Because 12 months, in my opinion, it's too long.
Oh, no. So if I may, Mr. Chair, I'm comfortable with staff recommendations. What I would just propose is an addition that staff would report back within 12 months. That means it gives up to a year. It's not going to be anywhere near that time. There's no point in, for example, there might be an argument to be made that they need to, go through a number of school terms. There could be something with that. Up to 12 months just gives wiggle room for the staff to make work. So I'd expect it back far sooner than that. But if I've learned anything with the time community board, you don't want to say, get back here within 4 months or something. It's just not possible. And then you actually miss out on then being able to get the work done, and then it opens up a whole lot of other issues. But I think within a year is reasonable enough. Like the point being, if you're comfortable with that. So I would just propose, we can obviously discuss it, but just all the staff recommendations with one addition, that is report back to the community board within 12 months, of the effectiveness of the parking restrictions, impacts on neighbouring streets, and any further safety enhancements. Happy to take your guidance on any other language, either from staff or from the board. Aidan?
You comfortable with Aidan that would
does that capture everything there?
Stuff back within 12 months.
I'm really just trying to sum up what I've heard from
the word specifically pedestrian as well, because we have dealt with the parking and U-turn for vehicles.
Yeah, right.
But there is this specific aspect of pedestrians, including children.
Could I also suggest we say in the wider area, because then it captures Memorial Ave, potentially a crossing on that space?
Yep. So so report back within 12 months on the effectiveness of the parking restrictions, impacts on the wider area, and any further safety enhancements. Yep. So I guess safety enhancements capture whether it's pedestrians, scooters, anything.
David, I was thinking we could potentially, outside of this, request a briefing from staff around the Memorial Ave crossing point and some of these pedestrian safety issues as well, to see if we can run that in parallel.
Yep. Right.
I've just got one more question.
Yeah, sure.
So just on that map, in the cul-de-sac, that car that's parked there now will be okay to remain there with the restrictions under the tree?
The one at the top corner?
No, that one there. Assuming that's a car.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So that park will still remain?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have run that no stopping restrictions from basically the tangent to the tangent.
Yeah.
So it's just the curve which we are eliminating.
Yeah. So that car, so we won't be removing that car park.
Yeah.
Work all right for you.
Cool. Thanks. Cheers, thanks.
Okay, so just to summarise, what we're looking to do is we're looking to pass the staff recommendations, but what we're also looking to do here is, in parallel, get a report back from staff within 12 months on the effectiveness of this, and I guess any side effects or consequences this might have downstream in other parts of the local area, to see if we need to make any changes or wind anything back. And also, we'll request a staff briefing outside of this on what we can do at the west end of Sunningvale there to create like that drop-off area, or just to create a better turning experience to reduce the congestion there, and also some other pedestrian safety improvements for the pathing for people to the school across Waimāero Ave, and I guess other feeder streets into that area as well.
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, I'm happy to move there with that addition there.
Okay.
And I'll tell you guys, as long as the board's comfortable with that.
Yep.
All right, David, happy to second. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, and
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
with that, we move on to number 9,
Happy to
which
move.
is Elizabeth. And you-
I've been sitting too long. Right, so hopefully you've read, it's pretty straightforward. Which is
go on.
just with the kid first, at the back of the reserves, got a lot of these, and they obviously need to upgrade their whole sort of business communication and putting cyber through. So the process to do that, because it's through reserve, for them at the back, you have to follow this process and do the community board and the doc, which is delegated to the chief executive to sign off.
Right.
So,
Any questions from anyone? No? All right. Anyone? Chris, happy to move?
Yeah, Sam and Sharice.
Sam, happy to second?
Yep.
All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried.
thank you,
Fantastic.
very
Thank you.
pleased.
Thank you very much. There we move on to item 10, Glen Cullen Drive, which is Barry.
And I'm happy to move for what it's worth as well.
Sure.
And I'm happy to second. I've got one question.
Taken as read. All in
I've got
favour?
one question.
One question.
Okay. It was just around what if, so the disadvantage is where the neighbour's not agreeing, or what if both want to buy it? What's the process for, what are you going to do?
Auction.
If they both want to buy it, well, we'll probably have to go to some sort of tender process.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll just have to work our way through that and see.
Yep.
See where we land.
But it won't come back here. You're all, Great.
But it's actually logically number 26, if you lived at number 29.
Wow, it's pretty cheap land. Yeah. Cool.
Anyway, that's not our problem.
All right, so who was moving that one, sorry?
Oh, I did.
James moved,
Yep.
Sam second. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much, Barry.
Okay, right.
Right. Discretionary response fund. Anyone want to come and take a seat?
Any questions?
Any questions?
None from me.
Fairly standard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Suresh? Suresh, happy to move. Nicola, happy to second. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thanks, team. Right, moving on to item number 12, board area report. Mary Ann.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Take the report as read. Happy to take any questions. Just another monthly snapshot of some of the great stuff going on out there in the community.
Any questions from anyone on that one?
No, it's great.
I just have one, which someone asked me, the graffiti. So do we see a spike during school holidays?
Normally, but this wasn't during school holidays.
No.
This was before. But I think it looks huge because we've gone from
So little.
1 to 6.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you think 6 reports of tagging isn't that huge,
No,
it's like a 500% increase.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, there's definitely a spike, but it's normally school holidays, which
okay.
wasn't when this, so the next one will be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds like it was just like someone's gone to town on the
And
Redcliffe
he
Road
would-
overbridge. On that
yes.
Redcliffe Road overbridge, it looks like someone's gone to
Yeah,
absolute
so you
town on there.
comment.
yeah.
The
Yeah,
residents comment.
because it's a large square metre, it's them cleaned up.
Yeah, must be.
Okay, cool.
Right,
Happy to move it.
great. I'll second that. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Fantastic. And with that, we move on to the last item on the agenda, elected members information exchange. Anyone have anything they want to update the board on?
Oh, very quickly, it may have been said at that meeting, which I wasn't there for, but if anyone wasn't aware, obviously the overbridge has been opened and has been well received by the community. So a collaborative effort between council and Transrail and Ministry of Education. So nice to have that key link reinstated.
Nice.
Thanks, Mary Ann, for your assistance and everything through that as well. Naden.
I had a question, and then this is actually for you, James. So I was driving past Brenchley Ave just the day before.
Yeah.
We didn't have any serious flooding events the year just been, did we? Because did we have any huge downpours when the leaves, because the timing of the rain and the leaves didn't happen this year, did it? So did we skip a year with that?
There's still, I certainly received a number of calls around over winter through Brenchley as well. Unfortunately, it would have been nice if I just didn't. I'll send them all to you next time. But no, it didn't seem as bad as the year prior, but there still were a number of issues from
It's
it.
interesting because we didn't see anything, did we?
Didn't come to us.
Flooding.
I just had calls around it, but I don't think it was anywhere near as bad as the year prior.
Yeah.
I think there was far greater rainfall the previous year. Still contacted from residents around it, but not to the same.
Is there anything still kind of tuning away in the background on that one? And
yeah, there
what we
is.
can do?
It was through the long-term plan we signed off basically an ability to prioritise this, and so work's underway on it, and where that lands, not sure, but we've done everything we can kind of do at this point.
Okay. Sam, is anything happening at council at the moment or worth?
No, so we've appointed permanent chief executive.
Yeah.
Really the main thing, which is good. And then the transport program stuff. So I don't know if they've booked in the time to come out to see the board yet. November. Yep. So that's obviously all being worked through. They're probably the two key things at the moment, I think, James.
Yep.
Don't think there's everything else is sort of BAU type stuff. So
Yeah. Okay, great. All right. With that, then, if no one has anything else, we can finish with the closing karakia and close the meeting.
Cool.
That's great.
Unuhia, ki te uru tapanui, kia wātia, kia mama, te nākau, te tinana, te wairoa, I te ara takata. Koi a rā e rongo, whakakairia ake ki runga, kia tina, hui e, tai ki e.
Thank you, Ron. And with that, we close the meeting at 5:20.